Hello, dear students. Welcome to the sixth lecture of the lecture series on welded joints. In the previous lecture, I have told you how to find out the inclination of the plane in the weld where maximum shear stress is induced in case of parallel as well as for transverse fillet weld. And then we have also find out the magnitude of the maximum shear stress. It turned out that for a parallel fillet weld, the inclination of the plane inside the weld where the maximum shear stress is induced is 45 degrees, and for parallel fillet and for transverse fillet weld it is 67.5 degrees. We have also calculated the magnitude of this maximum shear stress on this plane. If you haven't watched that lecture, you can click on the link at the top right corner. In this lecture, I will tell you how to design an axially loaded unsymmetric welded joint. Now before we start with the design process, let's understand what this unsymmetric axially loaded welded joint means. Now for example, you are having a plate like this and you are having a welding at the top of the plate over here and at the bottom of the plate over here. So till now you are able to design a plate or a welded joint where the length of the weld at the top as well as at the bottom are equal. But for this particular case, the length of the weld at the top and at the bottom are not equal. That's why we are calling it as unsymmetric welded joints. Now the next thing is it is axially loaded. That means the line of action of the force is along the axis of the center of gravity. The line of action of the force which is acting on these plates is parallel or is passing through the axis of the center of gravity of the weld. Now let's see how to design such kind of welded joints. So this lecture is about the design of axially loaded asymmetric welded joints. You might have certain applications where you need to use this type of welds. For example, in case where you have to weld a T-shaped plate to a vertical or a horizontal plate, then in that case you have to use this particular design. This figure over here shows you an angle welded to a vertical beam. This is your vertical beam to which an angle is welded with the help of two parallel fillet weld. This is your first parallel fillet weld and this is your second parallel fillet weld. The structure is subjected to an axial load of magnitude P. It is subjected to an axial load of magnitude P. And your center of gravity of the weld is basically located at a distance y1 from the top and y2 from the bottom. So this is the line of basically this is the line or the axis which is passing through the center of gravity, and the tensile load which is acting on this structure is also passing through the same axis. Okay, that's why we are calling it an axially loaded. And since the length of the weld are not equal, the first weld is of length L1 and the second weld is of length L2, these two are not equal. That's why we are calling this structure as unsymmetrical welded joints. Now this figure over here shows you the free body diagram of the welds, the forces acting on the weld. Now Sir Isaac Newton told us that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So the action is the applied tensile force of magnitude P, and the equal and opposite reaction is your forces P1 and P2. Okay, these are the reactions developed inside the weld 1 and weld 2 respectively, whose magnitude is P1 for the first weld and magnitude is P2 for the second weld. Now, the magnitudes are not equal because the lengths of the welds are not equal. Therefore, the strength of the welds are also not equal. That's why the reactionary force are not equal. Now, obviously, the sum of these two reaction forces P1 plus P2 will always be equal to this force P. Will always be equal to the force P. Now, I already told you that the center of gravity is located at a distance y1 from the top and at a distance y2 from the bottom. So, the external forces are acting on the joint and which is passing through the axis of center of gravity. P1 and P2 are the resistive or the reactive forces developed inside the weld 1 and weld 2, where P1 can be written as equal to 0.707 H L1 tau, where tau is the shear force inside the weld or the maximum allowable shear force inside the weld or of the weld material. L1 is the length of the first weld. H is basically the height of the weld, which by convention is taken as equal to the thickness of the plate. If you are not getting what this equation is all about, you need to watch the lecture on the design of butt weld, which you can see by clicking on the link at the top right corner. Similarly, you can write the equation for the second reactive force, which is P2, which is equal to 0.707 times H times L2 times tau. Tau is same as this one and L2 is the length of the second weld. Again, if you are not getting what these two equations are all about, you need to watch my lecture on design of butt welds. Now, as I told you that the sum of these reactive forces P1 and P2 will be equal to the force or the tensile force acting on the structure of magnitude P. Now, if you take the moment about this point G, you can write this equation which says that P1 times Y1, okay, P1 times Y1 is equal to P2 times Y2. Because of this force P1, there will be a moment at about G in the anti-clockwise direction, and because of this force P2, there will be a moment about G in the clockwise direction. Now, the perpendicular distance of these forces from this point G is Y1 and for this force P2 is Y2. So, we have written this equation P1 Y1 equal to P2 Y2. Now, if you substitute the values of P1 in this equation and P2 in this equation from these two equations, you can have a new equation which will be 0.707 times H times L1 times tau times Y1 equal to 0.707 times H times L2 times tau times Y2. Now, on the left hand side of this equation, you will be having this term multiplied by Y1, and on the right hand side of this equation, you will be having this term multiplied by Y2. Now, in this equation, these terms are common, so we can cancel them out. 0.707 cancels out 0.707. H will cancel out H. Tau will cancel out tau. Now, you will be having an equation which says that your L1 Y1 is equal to your L2 Y2, where L1 and L2 are the length of weld 1 and weld 2. Now, assuming the total length of the weld as L, we will be having this equation which says that length of first weld plus length of second weld is equal to the total length of the weld. So, with the help of these equations, equation number 3, equation number 2, and set of equation number 1, you can solve all the given problems for axially loaded unsymmetric welded connections. Now let's try to solve a problem on this topic, which says that a 200 by 100 by 10 angle is welded to a steel plate by means of fillet welds, as shown in figure below. The angle is subjected to a static force, mind it, it's a static force of magnitude 150 kilonewton, and the permissible shear stress for the weld is 70 megapascal. Determine the length of the weld at the top and bottom. So the question wants us to find out the length L1 and the length L2, which is the length of the weld at the top and the length of the weld at the bottom. So first of all, let's see what are the parameters which are given to us in the question. The first parameter which is given to us in the question is the height of the plate, or h in case of the weld, or the leg dimension in case of the weld. The second parameter which is given is the static force acting on the plate, which is 150 kilonewtons. The third parameter which is given is your shear stresses acting inside the weld, which is 70 megapascal. And the question wants us to find the length of the weld at the top as well as at the bottom. So we will be using this equation, which is again for the parallel fillet weld, which says that P equal to 0.707 times H times L times tau. Now over here I haven't written L1 or L2, I have written L, because L is the total length of the weld, which is the sum of the length of the weld at the top as well as at the bottom, and that's why I have equated it to the total force acting on the plate or the structure. Now let's see what are the values of the unknown constants, unknown variables given to us in the problem. So the first value which is given to us in the problem is h, which is equal to 10 mm. The second value which is given to us in the problem is your force P, or the force acting on the on the structure, which is equal to 150 kilonewtons. The third parameter which is given to us in the question is tau. So we can find out, we can put the value of tau from here. Obviously 0.707 is a constant, and we can, with the help of all these values, we can easily find out what is the value of L. We can easily find out what is the value of L, or the total length of the weld. So till now we know what is the total length of the weld, but we need to find out the individual length of the weld at the top as well as at the bottom. For that we are going to use this equation, which says that L1Y1 is equal to L2Y2. Now the value of Y2 is given to you in the question, which is 71.8 mm, and the total length is given to you as 200 mm. So in order to find out Y1, you can easily subtract this value 71.8 from 200, and you will get the value of Y1, which is shown to you in the figure as this length. Okay, so you have to find out the value of Y1 by subtracting the value of Y2 from the total length. Okay, and mind it, this total length is not the total length of the weld. This is basically the distance from here until here, the vertical distance from here till here. So your Y1 is the distance of the weld 1 from center of gravity, that is this distance, which need to be which is basically equal to this total distance minus your Y2. Okay, So once you have y1 and y2, you can you are left with the values L1 and L2. Since we do not know the value of L1, nor do we know the value of L2, but we know the value, or the basically the sum of these values. That's why we are going to use a third equation which says L1 plus L2 is equal to L, where L is the total length of the weld and L1 and L2 are the length of the weld 1 and weld 2 respectively. Now in this equation you can find out, you can put the value of L from the first equation. From this equation you can put the value of L from this equation, and now you are having two equations. This is your first equation and this is your second equation. You are having two equations in two variables. Okay, you are having two equations in two variables, which is very easy to solve, and from these two equations you will get the value of the length of weld 1 and the length of weld 2. This is your answer. The value for L1 is 108.81 mm and the value for L2 is 194.28 mm. If you are going to solve this problem correctly and with proper units, you will get these answers. In case you are not able to follow this question or any other questions from any other lecture, do let me know in the comment section below. Now I will keep this lecture until here only. In the next lecture I am going to teach you the design of eccentrically loaded welded joints. Now the design of eccentrically loaded welded joints are quite complex when compared to the design of fillet and butt weld, because in case of eccentrically loaded welded joints, the applied load does not pass across the center of gravity of the weld. The line of action of the applied load does not pass through the center of gravity of the welds, which makes the calculations quite complex. But nevertheless, I'll teach you it in the next class, and you will find it quite easy after that. Now, thanks a lot for listening this lecture patiently. And in case you are finding the lectures interesting and useful, do like and subscribe and press the bell icon so that whenever I upload a new video, you get a notification. Thank you.